How to edit your taps in PractiCAD. There are multiple ways of editing your fittings in PractiCAD, especially when it comes to taps. However, some ways are more preferred than others. Because we don't want to remove a tap off of a fitting so that PractiCAD doesn't know they're connected, editing is very important. Automatics in the system will work from duct line forward or duct line backwards quite often. And if a duct line is broken, meaning if I pull a tap off the duct line, PractiCAD will not be able to edit as normal. So we're going to teach you in this tutorial, it will be a two-part tutorial, how to edit your taps and how to move and copy your taps without actually separating it from the duct line. The first thing we need to show you is the tap parameter box. If you actually hit T for tap and attached a tap properly, you will always know, because in the AutoCAD property box, you're going to get tap parameters. And you can see here that there is a lot of them because PractiCAD is representing every value from the in and out joint of the connector, and it's giving you the distance between the side of the boot, the center of the boot, and the heel of the boot, and also doing the same thing for the out connection of the boot. Generally, I don't use any numbers in here to edit with the exception of two. The first one in the list is in, from, in, to, side. And that is actually the distance from the tip of the boot from the in connection. We have here a picture that represents it and a snapshot of the tap parameter box. Notice it says in, from, in to side, 16 inches in this picture. And if you follow the yellow line, it just means the distance from the tip of the duct to the tip of the boot. This is going to control the duct left to right. All of the other values are properties of each other. So you can see here we have in, from, out to side is 24 inches. And if we look at that, that's the distance from the heel to the out joint. If I change one, PractiCAD is going to adjust the other three that control the distance left to right. So all I ever do is just adjust one. Same thing for the up and down. Notice we have here in, from, top to side, 2 inches. And if we look at that, that is just a distance from, and this is the side view here, the top of the boot to the top of the duct. If it's set at 0, the boot tap will be flush with the top. If you take in, from, bottom to side and set it to 0, you can see here the little 6 inches. If it's set to 0, the bottom of the boot will be flush with the bottom of the duct. So if I need to move the boot tap up and down by just a couple inches, I would usually just add that value to in, from, bottom to side. And if I want to move the boot tap over left or right a couple of inches, I would add or subtract that value to in, from, into side. I don't recommend using any more than two, just the ones you're comfortable with. So we're going to go back into PractiCAD here, and we're going to go into the property box. We're going to click on our tap. What we're going to do here is we're going to focus on moving the tap over, which will essentially move the entire duct line over. We have in, from, in to side at 16. If I just want to move the boot tap over 2 inches, all I would do is add 2 inches to 16, make it 18, and you can see when I hit enter, the PractiCAD will shift it over left and right. This is the recommended way for editing. If you edit in the tap parameter box or the AutoCAD property box, you will not separate the tap from the drawing. Once again, here we have in, from, bottom to side. If I go and change it to 0 and hit enter, that's going to put the boot tap at the bottom of the duct. Notice that we have in, from, top to side is set at 8 inches right here. That is the value from the top of the boot to the top of the duct. And PractiCAD in the AutoCAD property box will not allow us to give a value that will separate the duct off the line. For example, if I type in 20 and in, from, top to side, and there's not enough room to do that, and I hit enter, you can see that it goes to 8 on its own because that is the lowest it can go. So by using this window, you will not pull it off the duct line. The other way to change the elevation is to use the elevation box. But if you do that, you could pull the tap off the duct line. For example, here you can see in the elevation box that the tap is at bottom 15 foot. If I came here and gave it 15 foot 6, that will move the tap. And as long as I didn't give it a value that's above the side of the duct I'm trying to attach to, that will still stay attached. We can always see if we've removed a fitting off by using our duct line check. And there are separate tutorials on the duct line check, but it's the automatic in your automatic bin right here. And if I click on that, PractiCAD will always highlight the ends of the duct for us. Notice here that it's not putting a red mark between the tap and the rect duct. That means that it's still connected. However, we're going to go back to our duct line check automatic and we're going to remove those marks. Now what we're going to do is click on the boot tap and then we're going to come over to the box and give it a value 15 foot 9 and hit enter. Now when we do that, because we've used the elevation box, PractiCAD will still allow you to move that duct line. But as you can see here, if we highlighted this area and then used the duct line check, we now have a red mark between the boot tap and the duct. That means we've separated the boot tap off the duct line. And if we run an automatic from the main trunk line, right where it goes to the tap, the automatic will stop because the duct line integrity is broken. So if we're going to move fittings up or down, generally recommended to do it from the property box as opposed to doing it from the elevation box. Next, we're going to show you how to use your move command to move a branch down a duct system and also the proper way to copy a tap line in PractiCAD. To move a tap down the duct line, you're going to have to do a different thing than going into your property box and just changing the offsets because we're actually switching between ducts. If we're just going to move duct down the duct it's attached to, for example, here we have the boot tap. We can see that the in from in to side is set at a specific distance from the in joint. If I wanted to move this over 3 inches, I would just add 3 inches to the 12.51 value we have here. I type in 15.51 and hit enter. That's the easiest way to move something, and you can guarantee you're never going to pull the tap off the duct line. However, if you're going to try to move this tap down between different ducts, you can do this in PractiCAD. You just need to be careful about the method you use to do it. To move something down the duct line, we must first select the duct we want to move. So what we're going to do here is we're going to grab a selection automatic called Select Duct Line Forward. We're going to click on it. PractiCAD is going to say to select a fitting. We're going to click here. That is now going to highlight the whole duct line forward. To move duct down the line, all we need to do is grab this node, and here I'm going to pull the duct off the duct line a little bit. Whenever I'm moving lines in this fashion from one end of a duct line to another, I recommend keeping Ortho Mode on. Because Ortho, if we hit F8, once this button on the bottom Ortho's on, it's going to mean that we can easily move this up and down the duct line. And also, we don't have to worry about snapping onto something accidentally. All we need to do now is hold in the direction we want to move. We could either just eyeball it and click right here, or we can hold in the direction and type in 60 and hit enter. And that'll move the duct line over 60 inches. Whenever you're doing move or copy, it's recommended to do a duct line check. I'm going to use the duct line check automatic right here. And I'm going to make sure that I don't get a red mark or whatever the color of my mark is. Therefore, here you can see that we moved it correctly. So moving, you can just grab the node, slide it over, use Ortho. Copy is different. If you're going to copy a tap, there's a feature built into PractiCAD to help you do it. All you need to do is left click once on the fitting. Then you can right click and go to the copy tap feature. If you click on this, PractiCAD's going to say in the command line, please select a fitting. And here we can simply just click on the place we want to copy it to. You'll notice the tap parameter box is going to appear. And once again, we can roll this into the position we want, or we can click on the drawing and center this. Now, copy tap actually copies the whole line. So when I click here, it's actually going to take a carbon copy of this and it's going to attach it to the duct. Going to use duct line check again. We run it. Notice there's no red marks. So we did it correctly. However, let's try this using standard AutoCAD copy and watch what happens. If I go to select duct line forward, we're going to delete this duct line. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab the selection automatic duct line forward again. We're going to click on the tap. And now we're going to try to hit the copy command, either by choosing it in the ribbon, typing copy in the command line, or wherever we want to activate it. Now we're going to click copy. AutoCAD is going to say specify base point or displacement mode. Now here I could either choose the base point up top or the base point down below. Either way, most likely this is going to cause a separation. Right now for this tutorial, I'm going to grab the same base point we used to move the duct. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it over with Ortho and I'm going to click here. Now, I'm going to hit escape to let go of the fittings. If you run a duct line check here, you can see that this is not attached to the side of the duct because we've never given it placement parameters. PractiCAD doesn't know it's attached. So the proper way to copy taps is to click on the fitting, right click, copy tap, choose the fitting you'd like to place it on, then center it wherever you need it. And this way you can guarantee that those taps are connected. However, this one is going to be broken. And once a duct line is pulled off of a main trunk line, it is very difficult to actually reattach it. So please follow the recommended methods for move and copy.